It's a basic rule of good journalism. Advertising should be clear from the news content. While that line has blurred in recent years, a new campaign by CBS Boston's Channel 38 is raising new questions.
WBZ News at 10 starts right now.
CBS Boston's 10 p.m. newscast on MyTV 38 is pretty typical fare. Similar to the 11 p.m. news on sister station WBZ, except for this.
Stay with us. We'll be right back right after this.
But the This is a slickly produced 3-minute interview segment called A Few Good Minutes with Joel Idelson. This time talking with Donnie Wahlberg.
Just get the job and be great at the job and then see what happens. That might lead to another job and that might lead to another job.
Okay, and then comes the sell.
He's doing it with Blue Bloods. He's doing it with Boston's Finest. He's doing it with Wahlburgers.
Turns out A Few Good Minutes is an advertising vehicle, but the only clue is this fine type at the start. Furnished by A&G Entertainment in collaboration with CBS Boston.
To see the full interview with Donnie Wahlberg, go to cbsboston.com/AFGM.
And with that, it's back to the newscast.
Well, thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks indeed. So we had a discussion this afternoon with Joel Idelson and one of his people from A&G who insists that this is not an advertising vehicle, that no one's getting any money, there is no money changing hands, that this is a new content platform, even though he used the term inventory. There's inventory available. From my experience in television news, inventory meant ad spots. They do hope eventually to get this segment sponsored, which means CBS 4 or Channel 38 will get some money and A&G will get some money. So call it what you will. It's an advertising vehicle. And by the way, there's references to Harry's, the razor, the Wahlburgers, the burger joints. So there was product placement just on the table there in the interview. So, you know, not to use a claim, maybe there's nothing wrong with it, but let's call it what it is.
Money may not be changing hands now, but they're not doing this as an act of charity. The desire is to have money changing hands. I have a broad, I allow a broad range of mixing advertising and content, so long as there is really strong labeling. You know, a newspaper can run an advertorial as long as the typography is not the same as the stories. It's clear to the intelligent reader that it's not a news story. In this case, I think the labeling on the story was insufficient. I don't think that was enough.
It was okay. The production quality was so vastly different from a newscast that, to me, but I mean, I have a trained eye. I mean, I would have no problem distinguishing it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't have as much of a problem with this. I would agree that there definitely needs to be better branding on something like this so people know exactly what it is they're watching. But I think overall, number one, once this does effectively become some sort of revenue for CBS Boston, then I think we have to maybe scrutinize it a little bit more. But that said, I also think that when we talk about how TV news blurs the lines of things, I also wonder about how people think about something like CBS anchors hosting the 4th of July extravaganza. You know,
I agree with you.
I guess for me, I think that that's something that TV has a little bit, they think that they have a little bit of wiggle room with, and I think it's maybe up to the viewers to figure out if that's right or wrong.
Or even the distribute telethons. I used to get uncomfortable with that.
Or the very many news packages that are produced by PR companies then shipped out to local news operations.
Yeah,
exactly. Or anytime, any movie promotion. I mean, anytime that you interview the star of a movie as a part of a junket, you're participating in the marketing of that movie. Or something with someone like when Fox News or the local affiliate interviews the American Idol star. I mean, the lines are still a lot more blurred. I agree with Josh that the key is labeling. I mean, this is going on not just on TV news, but you look at BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed's the king of this. They've got sponsored content. I think they call it guest. They've got some kind of an artful name for it that doesn't say advertisement but means advertisement, and everyone's going to have to come up with their own little names.
Well, yeah, and I mean, this
What's the name that they don't want us to use?
Native advertising. I mean, this is one of the more controversial topics in the business right now, and a lot of news sites are using native advertising of one type or another, including the Boston Globe, Boston.com, the New York Times, the Washington Post. I join with everybody in not really being particularly troubled by this as long as there's good labeling. This did not seem to be particularly good labeling, and maybe at this point where no money is changing hands, it doesn't make that much difference. But when it becomes truly paid advertising, the disclosure has to be there.
The thing that I can't get past, though, if they had 3 minutes of really good, solid advertisers, they wouldn't be conceding this 3 minutes to some kind
Well,
of a-
people don't watch ads anymore. People don't look at them on the
True.
web. People don't watch them on TV. So you need to come up with different forms of things that might actually engage people's attention. And these were very slickly produced. The one with Donnie Wahlberg was,
Yeah.
actually kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that Dan's right in the fact that we are seeing audiences erode slowly for all the traditional media forms, but I do think that what we've seen at the lab is that the last couple of years, Pew Research Center has shown that local TV is still relatively strong compared to some of the other to newspapers and things like that. So I think that TV stations are looking at that and saying we still have to go after this audience and still try to find ways to make money off of them. Also, maybe he just really likes Wahlburgers. Maybe it's a really tasty
And
burger.
razors. He loves,
loves
to shave.
razors.
And loves the show Blue Bloods.